Huge breaking news in the NBA for the Raptors as Jalen Harris has officially been reinstated into the league. So in today's video, we're going to look into if the Raptors should bring back Jalen Harris for this upcoming season and what sort of role he could have with the team. Let's get into it. What's going on, NBA and Raptors fans? It's Jacob here back with Amateur Hour Sports for another Toronto Raptors YouTube video. On this channel, I bring you the greatest coverage and analysis on the latest Toronto Raptors news. So if that is of interest to you, then make sure you are subscribed to the channel and you can help us on the road to 12,000 subscribers. And if you find yourself enjoying this video along the way, be sure to drop a like to give that extra little bit of support. And let's get to 350 likes on today's video. But this video is all about Jalen Harris. He's just finished off this season in the Canadian Elite Basketball League, otherwise known as the CEBL, where his team, the Scarborough Shooting Stars, probably best known for signing J. Cole earlier on in the season. They ultimately fell in the CEBL championship game to Hamilton, but Jalen Harris had a pretty good season there, and off the back of that pretty good season, he has been officially reinstated into the NBA. If you don't know what happened with Jalen Harris, about a year ago, I believe it was on July 1st, he was disqualified from the NBA, basically suspended for an entire season for violating their anti-drug policy, and that gave him the full year off, where he's been a little bit of a nomad. I mean, he was playing in Italy for some professional basketball to get his reps in. Then he was playing in the CEBL, trying to get himself right, maybe getting more adjusted to living in the area. He was playing Scarborough, very close to Toronto, and now he's been reinstated into the NBA, where the Raptors have first dibs in the player. He is a restricted free agent after coming back into the league, and the Raptors have the rights to the player to sign him. If he gets an offer sheet from another team, which doesn't seem very likely, the Raptors have the opportunity to match it. So they're in full control of whether or not they want to have their player on their summer camp roster with the opportunity to make their final roster for this upcoming season. And we're really clinging on to Jalen Harris's rookie season here. He was drafted 59th overall in the 2020 NBA entry draft, the same year that Malachi Flynn was drafted. And over the course of the season, spent a lot of time in the G League with the Raptors under 5, where he was pretty impressive. And he did get some reps with the actual NBA team later on in the season, where again, he was pretty impressive to Raptors fans. The one game in particular that was extremely impressive was the homecoming game that he had away at the Dallas Mavericks, where he dropped 31 points. One of the most impressive performances by a 59th overall pick in all of NBA history. Like 59th overall picks just don't produce games like that, even if it is in the Tampa Raptors season, even if it is near the end of the season where, maybe we were trying to lose as many games as possible to draft somebody like, Scotty Barnes. But nonetheless, even beyond that game, there were some good signs associated with Jalen Harris that made fans excited, and it made me excited. Like, this guy was a good shooter. He could take people off the dribble for three, for mid-range, getting to the rim. And again, I recognize this was near the end of the season where maybe he wasn't playing as great of competition from other teams. Defenses weren't as very hard on him, but nonetheless, there were some good signs associated with the player that I wanted to see develop over the course of the season that just transpired. But a wrench was really thrown into the side of that when he was suspended for the entire season. And I dubbed at the time that it was likely Jalen Harris's time, at least with the Raptors in the NBA, was over. We were going to find replacements, and it does seem like that has happened. But with the talent that he has displayed with the team previously, and perhaps playing overseas and in the CEBL, is he worth giving another go with the Raptors? To really answer that question, we have to kind of see just how good he's been over the course of the year. He played in Italy, like I said earlier, with Venali Cremona. I think that's the name of the team. He played with this team. Here you have the stats here, and honestly, a little bit underwhelming if you ask me. Like, the field goal percentages in particular are something that is of a bit of concern for myself. The points per game as well. It just seems like, I don't know anything. I don't know the first thing about Italian basketball. I know that Italy likes their basketball, not as much as soccer, but they like their basketball. They love their basketball. There's some good players there, but it just seemed like a guy who was playing well in the NBA maybe could have done a little bit better here, but regardless, went to the CEBL. The statistics, again, the field goal percentages maybe could have been a little bit better, but this is somebody who can undoubtedly score the ball. This is a certified bucket getter. And that's not the first time I've dubbed Jalen Harris with that term. He is a certified bucket getter. He puts the ball in the basket. that could be a good addition to this Raptors team. And the issue is that we've pretty much finalized the summer camp roster. We have 20 players, as you see on this list. I've kind of done a decent job in kind of laying out how I think everything is going to go, with maybe a little bit of exceptions. I mean, the starting five, that's pretty much solidified unless you swap Trent and Achua, which will be a topic of discussion in a future video. The main bench pieces, and then you have like the depth pieces. Maybe Simi Hyluk gets waived to make room. That is a distinct possibility here. You have your two-way guys, who I don't see going anywhere. They're already on their two-way deals in Ron Hubbard Jr. and Jeff Dowtin. You have the two players I think could be the ones to get cut, although Juancho Hernan-Gomez signing a guaranteed deal for a full year could really shake things up there. But this is just kind of a layout here, and you have Gabe Brown, of course, the Exhibit 10 guy who's going to be playing in the G League next season. I think at least that is the way things are kind of looking at this point here. I don't think he's going to get cut to make room either, because the Raptors want him for their G League team, the Raptors 9-5. I can see these things switching up. Juancho Hernan-Gomez could be put on the team. Simi Hyluk could get waived. These are distinct possibilities. I just wanted to lay out the 20 players here, and essentially I wanted to lay out, you're now seeing what Jalen has to do to actually make this Toronto Raptors final roster, because I would really like to see potentially if Jalen Harris can bring it into the NBA next season, really give us something here. And, there are certain players that I would maybe put him over. I would probably say I'd like to give Jalen Harris an opportunity to play with the Raptors above Juancho Hernan-Gomez. I would prefer to see Jalen Harris given an opportunity here. I really do feel like, as much as Hernan-Gomez is an okay player, I feel like him being Bo Cruz kind of has people overrating him a little bit. He really hasn't done anything overly impressive other than a very small sample with the Utah Jazz at all in his NBA career. He's an okay player, but maybe there's some better avenues to pursue. Maybe Jalen Harris is one of them, although the big thing is that Juancho Hernan-Gomez is on that guaranteed contract, as is Simi Hyluk. So Simi Hyluk making a guaranteed $1.8 million. Would you pay Jalen Harris the salary that you'd give him for signing with a team, plus still pay Simi Hyluk $1.8 million to play for another team? Like, is that really worth bringing in Jalen Harris? That's another big topic of discussion. So you can talk about the guys maybe who aren't on those guaranteed deals. So we can go to Justin Champagnie. We can go to Delano Banton. Delano Banton, I really want to see given another opportunity with the Raptors. I'd really like to see if we can find something there, because there is a talented player there. There's a lot of polishing and a lot of sharpening that needs to be done, but there is a player somewhere in there that I think we can get out, and I want to see at least one more year before we make any rash decision there. And for Justin Champagnie, I was very impressed with him over the course of the entire year last season. That is not a player that I would easily want to give up, especially for Jalen Harris, who maybe underwhelmed a little bit in Italy, maybe wasn't as exceptional as maybe we could have thought in the CEBL. This is a project type of player, but Harris is also 24 years old here. He's older than Delano Banton. He's older than Justin Champagnie by a good amount there as well. So I feel like the only players I'd want to have Jalen Harris on this team instead of are Juancho Hernan-Gomez and also Simi Hyluk. In terms of the way they play, well, pretty simple to understand. Hernan-Gomez is a forward, so positionally, I mean, you're trading away a forward there for a guard. Simi Hyluk is a shooting guard, as is Jalen Harris. So if I was making this decision based on who I would rather have on the team for the summer camp to see if they can make the roster, I would very easily say get rid of Simi Hyluk and bring in Jalen Harris. But it's not as simple as that as it comes to a front office, as it comes to a business here. Simi Hyluk, again, is owed $1.8 million. That's not like a lot, I guess, in the grand scheme for a company the size of Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment, MLSC, the owners of the Raptors. And, they can 100% afford that. But you're bringing in Jalen Harris. Like I said, you're giving him whatever his salary is. Plus, you got to still pay Simi Hyluk. Just to have Jalen Harris still probably, most likely, almost 100% not be a factor at all in the NBA. If he was brought into the team, he would likely have a ton of reps. The Raptors 9-5. That could be a pretty good thing for the G League team. He was good with them 2 seasons ago, and I think that'd be pretty good for his development, but how much development are we really looking to get out of him? I mean, how much can we really expect out of a 24-year-old here? Jalen Harris is a good player, and it really does pain me to say that maybe a poor decision in the summer of 2021 just completely ruined his NBA career, but whether it was recreational, whether it wasn't, we don't really know. I would assume at this point, based on the fact we've gotten no additional information from Jalen himself, it seems like it was recreational use. And that's a mistake. That's a mistake I'm sure he regrets big time. I'm sure he's going to find some pro basketball, whether it's still in Canada, whether it's back in Italy or elsewhere in Europe, wherever it may be. Maybe another NBA team will give him an opportunity here. But the Raptors have done a pretty good job of setting their summer camp roster. I struggle to see Jalen Harris given an opportunity or getting an opportunity over any of the current guys on the team. I can see it happening. If I was the ultimate final decision maker in this, I would say, look, we're sorry. We'd love to provide this opportunity, but there's a lot of other guys we also want to see with this team. We want to give an opportunity to. So it doesn't look like it's going to happen. I think that the biggest factor that Jalen Harris needs to hope for is that he needs to prove, maybe somehow, somewhere, get in a meeting and prove that he is worth waiving Simi Hyluk to bring into the team to see what he can do with that summer camp roster. I mean, again, I do feel sorry for the guy. I really do feel sorry for the guy that, he was definitely going to be given a good opportunity with the team last season. It just was, he couldn't. He was suspended. He was disqualified from the league. So, as much as I feel sorry for him, a lot of that has to be placed on him. A lot of the blame does have to be placed on him. And I completely wish best for the player. And hey, I'm not going to take it as a negative if he does make the team over somebody else. I mean, maybe I'd say I'd much rather have Champagny or Banton, but ultimately, I know this guy can put the ball in the basket. I know there is at least a little bit of potential in there. Let's see what he can do. But if I had to make a guess at this point what the ultimate fate of Jalen Harris would be with his Toronto Raptors career, it would probably be the exact same claim that I made pretty much a year ago and like 13 months ago, that Jalen Harris just ended his Toronto Raptors career. And I remember, I couldn't find it, but I did a poll at that point, and the majority of you guys also agreed that would be the case and that would be his fate. Let's just see how it all plays out and what happens with his basketball career. So what do you guys make of Jalen Harris being reinstated into the NBA and the Raptors having restricted free agency rights in the player? Do you think they will bring him back into the team? If so, who would they replace? Or do you agree with me and think that his Raptors career is unfortunately over? Let me hear your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below, because that is it for me for today. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy, please drop a like on the video. It does go a long way to supporting the channel, because when you drop a like, it lets YouTube know to recommend this video to more people with similar interests to you. It only takes you a second to like the video, but it does help me out a lot. It gets the video on more recommended pages, helping spread the word of the channel Amateur Sports. And if you are new to the channel and you like what you saw from this video, be sure to subscribe and help us on the road to 12,000 subscribers. And in return, I promise I'm giving you the greatest coverage and analysis on the latest Toronto Raptors news. Also, be sure to continue the conversation with me offline, either through the Discord with the link in the description, along with a bunch of other Raptors fans in there that are pretty active. And also, DMs on Twitter and Instagram are always open if you want to discuss basketball-related matters, or if you just have a question or a suggestion for myself. I'll see you again next time for another video.